Well, this is the second episode of this series. Last time we focused on the psyche and potentiality as a fiancée of Lady Isabella Valentine. The on-the-surface outbearing and soulless British Lady Earl from the sempiternally first-rate sword and sandal fighting game series, Soul Calibur. Last time we delved into a character from a medieval time. Today, we are going to analyze somebody way more near to our own time. She rides a chopper bike very well, has very canny detective flares, likes her leather jacket, somehow loathes cats, is a crackerjack with baseball bats, has well-pronounced measurements despite her height being somewhat lacking. Initially she wanted to be kissed. She then resorted to singing in jazz blues clubs. I am digitally talking about her. The only unique Android 18. Laugh out loud. No. Blue Mary is the one I am going to talk about, as she was based on Android 18 by the designers at ENG. Clearly they were a fan of the Dragon Ball character, and how can you possibly deny them such right? Mary Ryan goes under the pseudonym Blue Mary after the real-life drink, whose transparency becomes as thin as water if seen from a peripheral angle. Somehow, this description fits her very well, and we will understand it later. Despite her name, the only blue thing Blue Mary sports are her trousers. Her character is actually quite peppery, zesty and feisty. Whenever she is not behind Yamazaki's trail, of course. In-game, she fights by performing the most effective Sambo-style moves, Sambo itself being a Russian-born martial art focusing on grappling and bone-smashing holds. A good example of Sambo applied very well in other fighting games are the Russian-Italian duo Baemilion from the Dead or Alive series. Blue Mary has become a strong and very independent woman because of a tragic loss in her past. Both her fiancé and father were shot dead in a raid by underdogs at someone's payhold, probably billionaire crime lord Geese Howard, a mainstay antagonist in the Fatal Fury and King of Fighters lore. Now Blue Mary is a private detective, and with only her now dead fiancé's jacket as a concrete memento of him, she now is on a journey to get rid of the criminal scum. Her own way. So, would she be a good fiancé for you? Would she be real? Well, honestly, the answer is probably, but with some reserves and for brave potential fiancés only. Just like Lady Isabella Valentine, Blue Mary has suffered a tragedy in her life. A very personal tragedy. However, there is a massive difference between hers and Isabella's tragedy. Hers happened when she was already an adult woman and a professionally trained cooperative, while Isabella's was something that happened well before she was born and hurt her massively when her teen self was informed about it by the very victim that suffered such tragedy, her mother. Blue Mary can indeed be a person to get acquainted and possibly have one or more dates with, even just as mere friends. She has a very strong love for pets and animals in general, as shown by her dog, Antoine, who she cuddled since it was a puppy and has grown as a very faithful but also jovial braque. Blue Mary, in spite of her tragedy, has not closed to the open world at all. Actually, she relies on other people's support to keep going in her life. Her best friends, after all, are two of the most lovable, sincere, friendly, memorable characters she could ever rely upon. Terry Bogard, whose own fiery behavior has always been used as a source to fuel its goodwill to protect the innocents. And Andy Bogard, his twin brother, whose personality is more collected but nevertheless very pleasable to deal with, as she easily opened toward others despite the tragedy that occurred when she was still in her early 20s. The chance of her to keep living with her ex-fiancé's butch memory with her while engaging someone else are quite high. Blue Mary is also skilled in the arts, as she can clearly sing at an almost professional level, something that requires either innate talent or years of study. With such a background, she seems like an excellent candidate to be anybody's fiancé. Then, why there are some reserves about her? Being a goal-driven private detective, in real life Blue Mary would lead a risky lifestyle and be on the verge of getting hurt or killed on almost a daily basis. Anyone that would decide to be with her long-term should know that. The fact that she is an ex-copper means that there is a higher chance of receiving and leading attention toward individuals with a similar background and lifestyle. Should she one day decide to stop being a private eye for hire, the chances for anyone to hook her as a fiancé would be much higher. However, in spite of that, some grudges are very difficult to die out, and anyone she has ever arrested or messed with could potentially wait a long time before retaliating. Yep, we have reached the end of the first official episode of this format. If you liked the video, please leave a comment. If you have any suggestions, do likewise. I won't ask you for a subscription if you thought that the video was entertaining and that there is potential behind this format. Then do it. Otherwise, don't bother. Your time is precious. And I don't like wasting other people's time. Well, cheerio for now. I do hope you will have a very pleasant existence this day. Remember, behave towards others the same way you would them behave towards you.